Bartender ako sa isip, sa salita at gawa. Karanasan ko ay katumbas ng pagsubok at tuwa. Hindi pagpapalit ang aking mga napala. Tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang laban kahit minsan nadadapa.
Can you hear me?
Better? Yeah, that's
Okay,
better.
yeah, let's wait for people to come in.
Sure.
Give 5 minutes. I'm actually
What are you
having a Guinness.
Okay. A Guinness. Oh,
Cheers,
that-
Toma.
cheers. Toma.
What are you having? A Daiquiri?
I'm having a whiskey cocktail called Old
Oh.
Soul.
Sorry?
The Old Soul. It's a really
Okay.
nice drink.
Yeah.
Like Cregality whiskey. I've got what else? Pineapple syrup. A little bit of broker's bitters. Beautiful. A little bit of lemon
Nice,
juice put in there.
nice. I
Yeah.
kind of miss Guinness. For 2 months, so let's give it.
Yeah. Good. How's
Okay.
everything in where are you based? Bacardi?
I'm in Marikina. I'm in a cobbler right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just doing some cleaning.
Oh, okay. Is it the cobbler, is it?
Yeah, it's my bar in Marikina.
Oh.
Bar slash school.
Cool.
So yeah, we have one guest here already. Sala Ricky from Pampanga.
Hi, Salah.
Ricky, can you give a thumbs up if you can hear us clearly? Because it's raining right now, actually.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if you can hear the background because the cobbler doesn't have a, how do you call it? It doesn't have a ceiling. So,
Oh,
but
okay.
I only have like an insulator for the roof.
You can
Because,
hear it. That's what I love
yeah,
about it. I
you-
love the sound of the rain.
Yeah. Because the concept is a shoe factory since I'm from Marikina. So
Marikina, oh yeah. of
pretty
course.
much you're dealing
love
with,
Marikina is very well known for its amazing shoes.
there you go. Yep.
When I was there when I was younger, reputation of Marikina was, as good or even better than Italian shoes.
Yeah, definitely. In fact, now the reality is they're bringing it back. For a time, the old shoemakers either passed away already or they moved out because of the taxes. But now they're reviving the shoe industry, and yeah, can't be more excited. You see a lot of, there are a few new generation shoemakers that are actually very proactive in marketing the Marikina shoe, all over. So that's good news.
That's such a good name.
Yeah. Cobbler, shoemaker, and the cocktail, and even dessert. So now, actually, I'm learning how to bake. So planning to do a cobbler, pineapple cobbler, and a banana cobbler. So we'll see what happens, but we'll discuss more of that in 2 minutes. So welcome everybody who's here right now. Ma'am Cecilia from PUP/Dunkin' Donuts. So we have somebody here from Dunkin' Donuts. He's a good friend. And again, Ricky Salak, Lennon Aguilar. He's from Discovery Primea. That's a hotel in Makati. One of the hotel. Well, how do you call it? Lennon, what do you call Discovery Primea? It used to be Hill Army Suites or something like that. Pardon me, Lennon, if I didn't get that correct. But he runs 4 outlets. One of which is 1824. It's just a cigar bar, and he also has a bar that has gin buffet. So yeah, it's very good.
Federico is in there. Hello, Federico.
Hello. Yeah, man, you're a legend. You're a legend here. Well, I was just talking to Willie Haddock. I don't know if you know him. He's a seafarer. Yeah, he's going online. He's still in San Diego. Yeah, he's still there.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember, I've known Willie for years. He was here in Sydney once, back in 2004, I think.
Perfect.
And yeah, he got in contact with me, and yeah, we've been like friends since then.
Yeah, I told him, hey, well, you better get online. Loy is going online, so I said, yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so we can start. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Toma Sessions Live, and this is your host, Richie Cruz. And today, we have a very special guest, a kababayan, a Filipino. And, you know, we go way back. Maybe we met personally 2015, 16, but of course, this guy, this gentleman over here is well known. He's like a legendary Filipino who's actually making waves in Australia. And it's an honor of Toma Sessions Live, especially at this time of our lives, to have somebody who can give us inspiration and, of course, information of what it's like to make it in the bartending industry. So just to give an introduction to our speaker or our guest, he is an internationally acclaimed award-winning bartender who have managed some of the best bars in Sydney, Australia. He has been a brand ambassador of the Bacardi Martini Australia brands for over 10 years and considered one of the most influential hospitality talents. I agree. I couldn't agree more, 100%, in Sydney. And he has also mentored the past 7 Bacardi Legacy winners, which I know one of them, Andrew Bennett, shout out if you can hear me. And also, well, who has been in the top 8 in the world 5 times and twice in the top 3. Oh, how awesome is that? An award-winning bartender himself earlier in his bartending career. And this includes 2-time World Cocktail Flair champion. So this guest of ours is also, well, of course, most of us started into Flair. And we will discuss a bit more about this when I introduce him formally. First ever IBA World Champion in Flair. Oh wow, this is amazing. So to all the IBAers out there, so if you're tuned in right now, you'll be meeting the first champion in Flair and 7 times Australian National Cocktail Flair champion. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Loy Catada.
Hey guys. Thanks, man.
man.
That's really kind. That's a good introduction.
Yep. Well deserved. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's you're the first Pinoy, and you know, I pretty much know you can still speak Tagalog, but we'll do this on a more what do you call this? We'll do the standard when it comes to what we're talking about, how we're talking. Yeah, you know. But Loy, for those who don't know or who just tuned in right now, well, Loy is a legend. I mean, like, if you were here like 3 o'clock just now, they were talking about a friend of ours, is Willie. So he's known Loy also when in our, I would say, not growing up, when we started our career, we already know Loy. So Loy, let's get right to it. So can you tell us?
Yeah, look, I'm pretty old school, I suppose. Those highlights in my career when I started winning competition, you got to understand, this is like 15 years ago. So Flair was quite in its infancy back then. And you see all the Flair bartenders, especially the Filipino Flair bartenders, man, they are so good, so talented. And it's such a next level. And you know, the progression of this particular skill all over the world in the past 15 years or so has just like progressed. And I'll tell you what, I wasn't that good, I gotta be honest. You know, I knew a bit, and I was very good at what I was doing at the time, but you guys are absolutely amazing. It's just so inspirational.
I've seen your videos, and of course we have evolved. You know, Flair has evolved. Okay, shout out to Al Ebonina. She's she's also, well, she's now an instructor in one of the universities in Quezon, if I'm not mistaken. But she flares a lot. She's a badass flare bartender in during her college days. So Anna is her name.
Amazing.
So, okay. Yeah, as I was saying, I saw your videos, and you're really also more of the entertainment, the crowd interaction. You know, you engage when you're doing your routine. You know, and obviously in competitions there's different. Like a few days back, I was watching several Instagram lives also with top flair bartenders, and well, obviously the sport has evolved in terms of what the judges are looking for, and even the opinions of the legends themselves, of course, have matured and have grown, and it's nice. At the end of the day, you know, like me, for example, although I'm not really good at it, I'm more into producing, but I started with flair myself, and you know, that's where I guess during our generation, or the 90s kids or 80s kids, you know, if we don't know Tom Cruise, then we wouldn't flare, maybe, you know.
I gotta say, that's inspired me. You know, when I was when I was in my late 18s or whatever, and you know, the cocktail, you know, that Tom Cruise cocktail, when you say it's like
exactly,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I was saying you should make another movie, well, a new movie. You know, there hasn't been a follow-up apart from the documentary of Fake Bartender. So, yeah, so whoever gets to think, you know, introduce.
That's it. You know what? Yeah, you're right about the entertainment side of things. It's all about, look, you know, cocktail competitions and flair competitions. They're all about creating something. It's all about the artistic side of and the talent of bartenders, of course. And not only that, but you know, a lot of people that's really successful in this kind of thing, it's all about thinking about the customer at the heart. You know, what does the customer want? What does the customer want to see? And we are in that industry. We're all very, very focused on making people happy, you know, and it's actually one of my passion is, and you know, I was looking at, you know, what is my purpose, you know, like that's one of the things that I've been looking into at the moment, is like, what is our purpose? Because once you know your purpose, you'd be able to have a very happy career and a happy life. You know, you'd know what you've been put in the earth for. And to me, it's all about creating this memorable experience to people. I want to make people happy, and I think it's the same with with you and me and a lot of people that's watching here today. We're in the industry because we love talking to people, and also I want to the Filipino culture. You know, we are very, very hospitable. Like, you know, it's the friendliest place in the world when it comes to, you know, you go to someone's home. What's the first thing they're gonna ask you? Have you eaten? You know, like.
There you go.
You know, so we're very, very hospitable. You know, we're very friendly that by nature. Also, we're very adventurous. We travel. You know, I see a lot of Filipinos from overseas in cruise ships, in U.S. navies. You know, because we love traveling.
Exactly.
And we're just built to make people happy and comfortable. And I'm just saying that, but also hospitality in general, all over the world, including in Australia. You know, we're all about that experience, the memorable experience that we can give our customers.
Okay, so let's go back to the history of Loy Catada. So, tell us, where were you born here? I mean, what's your province? When did you migrate?
Okay, that's I was born in Quezon City, in in Camp Crame, back in the 70s, and I grew up in Valenzuela, Bulacan, Metro Manila, actually. A place called Poblacion. I don't know if you know what that is. Quite close.
Yeah.
And
Well, now Poblacion is in Makati. It's the party place now. So, okay, that's
Oh,
a
okay.
trivia. Okay, guys, the Pinoy. So there's a
Didn't know that.
Poblacion in Valenzuela. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, yeah, good
Okay.
to know. Good to know. Go ahead.
And I moved to Australia when I was 15. I just finished high school. I went to Mapua Institute of Technology, pre-engineering high school, MIT.
Nice.
And
Nice.
yeah, I
man.
love it. It's very memorable. One of my well, obviously, being in high school in the Philippines, one of the most memorable. I'm so happy to actually finish my high school there, because it's very that's when you're a teenager. You're starting to have make great friends. You're starting to love going out and being sociable and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I moved to Australia. I moved in '87. I was 15. And I moved to not just in Australia, but in a place called Tasmania in Hobart. So Hobart, Tasmania is quite a quaint place. Very nice. I love it. I mean, for now, I'd love to live there because it's such a beautiful, pristine place. But for a teenager, it's a very quiet place compared to living in Manila. It's with millions more people.
Especially where you came from. Valenzuela is quite packed,
Yeah,
population-wise.
Exactly right. So it was quite a quiet. In Tasmania, I was living in a place called Ulverston, and it was a very small town. So eventually, I got into hospitality. So I did my college, and then while I was in college, I ended up working in a little restaurant. That's how I got into the hospitality sector. I was a kitchen hand. Like trying to get myself extra money on the weekends, and I was meant to be a chef. My boss took a liking of me and said, "Hey, do you want to be an apprentice?" So, but then I changed my mind because the kitchen that we were working with was very, very small, and I felt that the bartenders and the waiters, the food and beverage staff, talking to customers, were having so much fun. Now I'm stuck in a little kitchen. The pressure, the head chef yelling at me and all that. I thought, oh no. And anyway, I moved to a place called Hobart, Tasmania, the capital of Tasmania, and I went to uni there and did economics. And while I was studying, I started bartending. And this is where it kind of all started, working on Fridays and Saturdays and bartending in a little hotel there. And then all of a sudden I fell in love with bartending. And then fast forward to the year 2000 during the Sydney Olympics, the hotel that I was working in transferred me to Sydney to work during the Olympics. And I loved it, feeding at the same time. So I had a little bit of a name for myself eventually, and I got a job in a place called Cruise Bar in 2000, like Tom Cruise. Cruise Bar is in Circular Quay, which is near the Opera House, near the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and you can see. And the thing about this particular bar, it was a flair bar. So back in the year 2001, it was one of those bars that you go in and do a little
Pretty
bit
hot.
flair.
It's still pretty hot. Yeah. Flair is still in. Yeah.
Yeah, in Australia it's not as big anymore. But back then when I started bartending, it was very, people were getting excited about it. There's a few reasons why it's not that big, which I'll explain later on. But that's how I got into competition. I did learn from a lot of people about how to throw bottles around. But it's all about persistence. I think it's because I love it so much. It's just love doing. It just made my life as a bartender a lot more passion. I got more passion, and I love to do my job in the end. My first competition. I remember my first ever international competition.
Because you're the first champion, IBA, right? So
yeah, but the first international flair competition I've ever been into was in Poland. Believe it or not, in Warsaw. Back in just the end of 1999, 2000. Sorry, the end of 2000. and it was inside a 17th century castle in Warsaw. I've never
And look, Willie, Willie gave a comment. He knows you at ICC 99 Sweden.
That's right. I went to Sweden and flew in Gothenburg. So those were the times when I realized that bartending is such an amazing career. You know, especially with the friends that you made from all over the world. You gotta remember, there was no Facebook back then.
No,
it was you got Hotmail, I guess. But I got to meet lifetime friends. You know, Christian Delpesh. You got Hassan, Levant, Danilo,
Uribe,
yeah, all those guys. You know, I was meeting them. Like I was actually competing in the IBA for I think 7 or 8 years running. So you see them every year. It's like a little reunion.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, now we've got the Bacardi legacy, which we see the family as well, which is amazing. It's the same, similar thing. Yeah, and that's what I love about bartending. What I love about bartending is that you get to travel, you get to meet friends, and you get to go out. Yeah, that's why I say you're out, but you know you're not like you're out, but you're getting paid at the same time. That's how I used to see it when I was younger.
Yeah, man.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so you know, well, you had a very good journey, you know, from Manila, from Valenzuela to Australia. Now, I'm just curious. How long were you able to adjust? I mean, okay, let's put it this way. Back then, it's different from now when it comes to how do you call it? Fitting in a new culture.
Yes.
So, can you just maybe whatever you feel like?
Let me just think back. Look, when I was 15, to move to another country was quite scary, but exciting at the same time, right? I was a teenager. I had friends. You know, I was so proud. I had some close friends in high school. My relatives are there, and then all of a sudden it was just a shock to the system about going to another school from a different culture and everything. But the way I saw it was it's a good opportunity. You know, like it's a good opportunity. It's the start of a new life, I guess, I suppose. And although even now I still think about, you know, my friends back in the Philippines, and I go, oh, you know, I wish I can catch up with them, and you know, and obviously like now you have Facebook and you have mobile phones and stuff like that. It's easier, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, that wasn't possible. So we used to write letters and stuff, things like that. So, but answering your question about what it's like, it's you have to be adaptable. You have to be agile. The agility is really important. Then you have to be open-minded as well. And I think I had that. And we're lucky Filipinos because English is our second language. So English isn't really the issue, the problem. It's about learning the way things work. Things taste different as well when you get here, you know, like from the, you know, like, and you gotta get used to that. A lot of the food here is a lot richer, you know, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but I suppose a lot of people that actually travel from our country to other countries would understand what I'm saying. But looking back to my career, I started managing a lot of bars you know, while I was competing and bartending, and this is the reason how I got into being a brand ambassador for Bacardi. And I started with Bacardi in 2008, which is almost 12 years ago. And what I love about this particular company that I'm working with, it's a family-owned business. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the founder of Bacardi, which is Don Facundo Bacardi, immigrated from Spain to Cuba at the age of 15. He was my age when he moved.
There you go.
And when I was reading his story, I actually got this connection of going, oh my God, I can imagine what he was thinking, you know, when he moved to a different place, because that's how I got connected to this to this company, and that's the reason why I love working with Bacardi, of course. Just as a side note. And,
Yeah. Okay, all right. So let's go to Bacardi. So basically, how did that start? I mean, how were you? Did you like apply for the job in Bacardi, being in operation? Because there's a shift, right? Operation to corporate. But
Oh yes,
how did
yes.
that?
Okay, so it's actually quite by chance. I was very lucky actually, and I still consider myself very lucky to be able to land this particular job, because obviously this was something that I really dreamt about, being a brand ambassador for a particular brand. But at the same time, when I was managing a place in Sydney, it was one of the coolest places at the time, called the Argyle Bond Store. This particular place is it's a heritage building, but they turned this into a bar, big bar.
Okay.
It had 7 bars. You can't really touch the building too much, so you have to work around and put the bar within the building. It was quite interesting, and if you ever go there, they play around with the lighting, it's cobblestone and everything. It's really quite nice. But anyway, when I was managing that bar, I ended up working for another company as a kind of like a mini brand ambassador for Monin syrups.
Okay.
It was Posipur. The guys from Chris Patsos, amazing gentleman. It was basically, he used to distribute Monin, and it's basically it was a handshake. So basically, I was working that, and Australian Bartenders Guild approached me to sponsor the play competition for
Mr. Beaumont, right?
Mr. Beaumont, yeah.
Mr. Beaumont, yeah.
And basically he said, "Oh, why don't I've got a meeting with Bacardi. Do you want to come with me and we can have a meeting with them, so that we can ask for sponsorship from Bacardi for the flair competition, because it's going to be I think it's in Puerto Rico. I can't remember when it was. So it makes a lot of sense because it's just Bacardi in Puerto Rico. So we had a meeting in there, and the advocacy manager there basically knew me. So he was one of my best customers in the Argyle and a couple other places. Basically, we had the meeting, and then all of a sudden he gave me a message saying, "Hey, we're looking for a brand ambassador to replace Raj Nagra, who was brand ambassador at the time for Bacardi in Australia. Are you keen?" And so essentially I just went, "Yeah, sure. I'll have a discussion with you." And then after that, to be quite honest, I was having second thoughts, because Chris, my boss at the time, which is Dr. Morning, he's an amazing person, absolutely respect the guy, and he was such a great boss. So I thought, no, I'm happy. But then I thought, let's see what it takes us. And then from then on, I just went, that particular, so I'll have a coffee with you, with Paul, the advocacy manager at the time. And then after that, I kind of thought about it, and I went, okay, let's do it. Let's go through the process. How do we do it? So I went through the interview, and I was lucky enough to be picked as the successful applicant for the brand ambassador role.
Okay, great. I'm curious though. When were you being in the operation as a bartender or a bar manager? When did that concept of brand ambassadorship hit you, or when did you learn about that? Because here brand ambassador, it's a fairly new. Well, now we have a lot of brand ambassadors here, but I remember during my time when we met in the Legacy, we didn't have yet. A brand ambassador at the time.
Oh, right.
We only had one for another company. But after that, then we started having brand ambassadors. So, I'm just curious. During that time.
Yeah, during that time, it's quite interesting, because it was a very new concept, having a brand ambassador for a brand. I think, like I said, my predecessor before, which was Raj Nagra, who was again. And he was a global brand ambassador for Bombay Sapphire, but he's doing his own thing now. The boxing, the
yeah.
boxing. So that's Raj.
The tequila.
Yeah, Casadores.
Yeah.
But he's doing that internationally. But he was the original Bacardi brand ambassador. There was no one before him. So it's a very new concept at the time. And I suppose when I started with Bacardi, the concept of a brand ambassador was very new as well. So they weren't sure where to take it.
Okay.
So we were learning along the way, and of course, from the years I've actually been with the company, my roles have changed too.
Yeah.
So it's all about being agile and that the agility of being cross-functional. So I work with different, but essentially as a brand ambassador, we are the face of the industry. So as a brand ambassador for our company anyway, we are more focused on the bars and the venues and bartenders. So we talk to bartenders, and that's the reason why being from this particular side, from the hospitality side, is very important aspect of being a brand ambassador, is because you have to communicate. You have to have the bartender's language. You have to have you have to talk with bartenders about trends, insights. You have to help create solutions for their business, and even create pathways of a career for up and coming bartenders. Giving them the necessary skills of bartending, category training, business of bars, and all those kind of things. And that's what we do best, is to engage our bartending brothers and sisters and find out exactly how we can help them. And I think that in that respect, it's not what you do as well, Richie.
Yeah. Well, we have here now our brand ambassador, Nino. Nino actually is the brand ambassador for
Nino,
Bacardi Philippines. Yep. So
we touch base quite a bit.
Getting into that, just to follow up with my question, how was the shift from operations to being a brand ambassador or to being corporate?
That's a really good question. So, I knew how I knew the business of bars. I used to manage bars and the operations and the recruitment and stuff like that. So as a brand ambassador, to shift in from bartending to a corporate, it wasn't easy. It's a very big learning curve. But the thing also, you have to change your time zone. You have to wake up a little bit earlier than normal.
Yeah.
Bartenders, you used to sleep really late and wake up late. That's what I was. I used to finish work at 3 a.m. in the morning or 4. And so there's obviously pros and cons on the shift of being from bartending to corporate. But I miss the bars. I miss the social aspect of the thing. I miss sleeping in and going out every weekend. That was great, and being sociable. But then, as a brand ambassador, it's got great perks. I don't have to work. Like most public holidays, I don't have to work. Sometimes I do. Most weekends I don't have to work, and so that's great, and you get to kind of like work normal hours. Not all the time. We have a lot of events. We have a lot of I go out quite a bit to engage the bar, to go to bars and visit my bartending friends and see, you know, what we can do, because that's the best time to actually talk and have that discussion on what's in trend, who's doing what, and what's going on. It's such a small industry as well. So the shift from being a bartender to a brand ambassador, to me, is a great career move, if that's what you want to do, because that's what I wanted to do in the beginning. There's obviously, as a bartender, there's a lot of different pathways that you can do. You can own your own bar. You can go into the management side. You can go work in a hotel and become a food and beverage manager and then travel around the world. You can be a competition bartender if you want. You can write books. You can teach in hospitality. Have your own school, I guess. Or you can be a brand ambassador. There's a lot of ways, a couple of ways. It's a career. You know, bartending is a career.
Definitely. Okay. In that regard, okay, so as a brand ambassador, okay, let's move back. Can you say to me that you have the knack of selling, being a tindero?
You know what? It's a very different way of selling, but we are bartenders, so we do sell, right? Because when you sell, we're not selling. This is a really important thing that I've learned as a brand ambassador and working for Bacardi, is that we don't sell bottles of Bacardi. We sell drinks, right? And that's one of the most important things I know, I remember, because if you can't do anything with a bottle. You know, your customers won't be just, what is this? Do I drink it by myself? You got to teach them how to utilize it.
Okay.
So how to make a mojito, how to make a daiquiri properly, you know, because that way you create the relationship. That's it. That's where it all comes in from becoming. You can be a salesperson, just sales products, or you can be a trusted advisor where people trust you on and influence businesses because they know that you've got the credibility and the expertise to be able to help them with their business. So it's not that you want to sell my product, it's that it's about what can I help you, how can I help you
in your bar, in your operation.
In your operation to make money. What can I do as a brand advocate to be able to help you build your business? And that's the most important thing. We always think, and this is the thing about bartending and brand ambassadors, it's a very similar thing. We always have to think about the customer at the heart. And that's it, you know. You got to really always focus on what your customer need rather than what you want to sell.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well said. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's where the inspiration of the drink came in, and same thing with the founder, Don Facundo. Is not just the salesman. He actually came up with an excellent product, you know. And until now, it's evolving. So it's like a solution to the times. So basically, that's how I see it. Okay. Let's move back again. You being a bar manager. So, being a bar manager, do you have any pet peeves in the operation?
Look, you know what? One of my pet peeves is something that I used to do anyway. So, you know, when I was a younger bartender, it's a funny thing because when you're a bartender, I love bartending just for the fact that you don't have any responsibility and you're just having the fun, you know. I see it, the way I see it when I was managing is that when I lock my bar, walk out the door, I go, turn the alarm on, it's to have the rosters right, you know, so you walk away and you still have these things in your head. As a bartender, you just close and then you go, let's go for a beer. You know, and that's what I love about bartending in that respect, because it's more fun than having the responsibility of a manager. Although being a manager is also great, you know, it's great, but then you have to think about the business, you know, whereas bartender, of course, you have to think about the business too, but I think you have more fun. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? That's just my perception, because I used to love it. Okay, so one of my pet peeves was for bartenders or my staff being late. You know, like I think it's all about respect. And being a Filipino, I think I've grown up to be late all the time. You know, I don't know. I grew up Filipino time. That's what it was. You know, like. And when I was a younger bartender, I tend to work hard. I used to go and do a lot of overtime, but then I'd be about, you know, like 15 minutes late. And I used to get away with it because my boss knows that I was a good worker, and I used to work overtime and stuff like that. But then when I became a manager, I thought, oh, this is not good. And really, when I grew up, I realized that being on time is actually being respectful, you know, of people's time. And especially in other culture, with us, you know, we're very easygoing. I think when obviously when I was younger, when I say to my cousins or my friends or my relatives, I'll be there at, you know, 3. I'll probably get there about 3:30. You know, I don't know. It's just like
yeah, man.
But now, you know, when you think about responsible business and being professional, I think being on time is a very important thing. Or in general, for me, it's actually when you say you're going to do something, you do it. You just basically, because you respect someone enough to be able to keep your promises.
Okay. Perfect.
But apart from that, yeah, pet peeves, not really a lot. One of the things that I watch for bartenders is hygiene. You know, making sure that, you know, you respect. It's all about, I suppose, all about respect when you serve. Having your drink, you know, you don't want to hold the glass where the customer's mouth's gonna be, especially nowadays with COVID-19 and all those issues, health issues happening. It's very, very important for us to actually revisit our procedures. And and it's also perspective. From the customers, if the customers can see everything, we're in a theater, you know, you're in a stage, your bar is the stage, so people can see you from there, from the inside looking in. So everything you do, whatever you do, if you touch your face and stuff like that, people go, oh. You know, so you got to be very, very aware of your movements behind the bar nowadays, especially when you're serving food or drinks. And hygiene is very important for that. And I think for me, that's my priority as well nowadays if I was going to run a bar.
Okay. All right. Great. So let's go back again in time. What was the first cocktail you made there? Yeah. If you remember.
Okay. Yeah, I remember the first cocktail because it was so embarrassing. I never had a proper. This was before I was actually waiting in bars. I wasn't. I was in a very small. My first ever bar job in Tasmania in Hobart, and it was. I remember it was Christmas Day, and an American family came in, and this the dad ordered a martini. And I went, what the hell's a martini?
Oh, man. Okay.
Man, I was just 18, I think, you know. I was like, I've never really done a cocktail before. And I went, so I looked in the book, and I went, okay, it's got gin, it's got vermouth. I think I used a different type of vermouth as well. I didn't know, and you got to stir it. And then you got to put green olives in it. Because, green olives, I don't have any green olives. So I went to the kitchen and said, do you have any olives, green olives? Go, no, we don't have any olives. So I ended up
Oh no.
I ended up garnishing it with a cherry. So I made
Oh no.
my
Okay.
badly made. It was the most. I'll never forget it. And I thought from then on, I'm gonna learn all the classic cocktails.
Okay, so you really basically you learned on the fly. You learned on the fly
yeah.
during those days. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I learned. I learned on the job during those days, and then I started doing cocktail competition. I read a lot of books about bartending, and I think that during that time around like mid '90s, the taste of customers were different as well.
Different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like sweeter. It was
Yeah.
fruity.
It's the disco.
there's-
It's the Cosmo. It's the,
the Cosmopolitan, and then I met Mr. Alex Beaumont, and he said, look, he was actually the reason why I moved to Sydney because I was there just for a little while during the Olympics, and Alex said, you should move here. You're very talented, because I started winning some competition locally, and I said, look, I don't know anybody in Sydney, he said, look, I've got a little flat in the city. It's not that big, but if you want, you can move here, and because I believe that you're going to do great, and while you're at it, maybe you can teach a little bit of flair. So when I moved, he actually gave me a little bit of a job. I was working 1 day a week in his flair school, and then there he was teaching and everything, and that's where I kind of like started learning a lot of the classic cocktails. Also, it's funny because when I was working at cruise bar, first time you have to learn all the cocktails, like the classic. So the Cosmo, of course, but then the Brandy Alexander, the Harvey Wallbanger, all those little classic cocktails. You have to remember, you have to know them. Nowadays, I guess we're a little bit more, bartenders are a little bit more creative too, so the classic cocktails are now being twisted and stuff like that, which is really good in a way. But obviously, I think, fundamentally, what I learned about classic cocktails is that it was built because it stood the test of time, because it was so simple to remember, and it's very delicious if you know how to make them properly. Think about the Daiquiri, for example. 3 ingredients, bacardi, lime juice, sugar. You can easily stuff that up if you don't balance the sweet and sour and the strength of bacardi and dilution of ice altogether. And if you have short on the ingredients, if you use bottled lime rather than lime juice, and so if I was going to teach bartenders classic cocktails or cocktails in general, I'd love to teach them how to appreciate flavors and how to balance flavors. And the best way to do it is through classic cocktails such as the Daiquiri, or whiskey sour, for example.
Exactly. Yep, I agree. Okay, this just popped out of my head. So, have you ever considered, since you basically come full circle, but have you considered owning your own bar, or maybe putting up your own school there in Australia?
Owning my own bar, yes. School, it's a really bit different. I think the last person that I know that owns a hospitality school in here is Alex Beaumont, successfully. We do have the International European Bar School here, and they're doing really, really well. But I think it's more like a franchise. So
is that the EBS?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they so they're doing quite well here. But in general, if I actually talk to new bartenders, they learn over here. They actually learn on the job. So you start off as a bar assistant. We call it there. We call it barbacks here.
Barback, yeah.
You got to start somewhere. But I think, to me, it's really, I can see that's the thing about teaching young people. it's easier to teach young people because they have less bad habits, right? So like
None of
myself.
those. Yeah, no.
But on hindsight, so you'd be focusing on the attitude and the personality of the particular person. I think if he loves, because there's some people in the world that's really good in computers and other academic stuff, but they're not good face to face with people and being friendly. You just have to be friendly. You have to love people.
Yeah.
Like that's what I said. I think that's what we said earlier. And I think as a manager like yourself, an owner, you'd be looking at someone like that who's keen, who's open-minded, willing to learn, work hard, but also really good with customer service.
Yeah. Well, hospitality, I always believe hospitality, well, it is just my opinion. There's been always a lot of talk about hospitality, how it should be done, at the end of the day, I think it's already a bonus if hospitality is already innate in a person. You know what I mean? And then it's just nurtured over the years. Because probably that can also be attributed to culture or how you were brought up by your family. If you have, or if not, how you grew up basically, since you were little kid and growing up, and because it's hard to teach hospitality just by PowerPoint or just by word of mouth,
That's
so
right.
I think maybe that's
right.
why we have an advantage also as well, as I was saying, because we're always been saying, okay, one of the most hospitable countries in the world is the Philippines. But then again, maybe I'm not gonna say 100%, because again, it depends on how you are growing up. Okay, let's shift. So now that you're saying the first cocktail you made as a bartender is the martini with cherry, what's your top 3 go-to cocktails?
Oh, okay. As in to drink or to make?
Yeah, well, okay, let's do both then. Let's do to make and to drink.
Well, to drink, of course, my number one is the Daiquiri, because it's really easy, well balanced, and it just breaks you up. I just love the well balanced Daiquiri. I can't go without it. I love a strong old fashioned, like a strong kind of like version, a strong cocktail, like an old fashioned. I like the flavors, especially if you're using a very special type of spirit, an aged whiskey or something like that, well balanced, and really nicely diluted. And then I think the last one really depends on the time of the day, because but a really good martini is something that I love as well. I don't mind whether it's vodka or gin.
Yeah, or gin.
Yeah, sometimes it changes, sometimes gin. So sometimes it's a very good vodka. I don't mind olive, so I like that. So those are the 3 cocktails that I'd go for. So you can see they're pretty mostly classic. I'm not big on sweet and creamy cocktails, although I do love them now and again, of course. Like the pina colada is delicious. I just taught someone how to make I just did a session on Toblerone the other day.
Oh, nice.
Just to talk about the 90s and the early 2000 when the creamy cocktails was quite a big and the proper way to blend, how do you actually blend those kind of things. Like tiki cocktails I like now and again, but those 3 are my top ones. at this point in time, I guess. If someone says,
Okay.
"What do you want to drink now?" Give me the three drinks. I'd have them.
Okay, so is that the same as what you wanna make also?
Yeah, I
So
suppose
drink and
so.
make. Okay.
If you think about it, in terms of if I was gonna show people how to make, I suppose I'd probably go with a martini or an old fashioned, because you need to teach people how to make it cold and have the proper dilution, the proper ice and stuff like that. I'd stick with a daiquiri with a shaken. But then I'd probably go a little bit more in a more like I guess a bit more complex. Well, not a complex cocktail, but maybe a little bit more of a different process of making cocktails, like a muddler. Or so maybe a mojito would be a really good way to teach people how to make a drink.
Okay. Nice.
Because it's a very delicate cocktail, and people can easily, ruin it.
Mess it up. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of dilution, do you follow like a rule of thumb? Like how much dilution do you allow for one cocktail? Do you do 1 ounce? Do you do 15? Do you do maximum 2 ounces?
That's really interesting. I guess it really depends on what you're making. With a daiquiri, I think to me it's all about, because I think recipes are made so that you have it, you have the consistency, but obviously everybody's taste is subjective. So as a bartender, you have to have the ability to gauge people's taste and stuff like that as well. A bit like a master blender for spirit, like bacardi, whiskey. There's no recipe for it. It's the way they taste. So the dilution process. If I was going to batch something, like I would probably allow the measurement of the dilution, say about 15 mils per drink in a for example a Negroni, right?
Okay.
Just so that it opens up all the flavors, and that's only if I was going to batch it, if for a big event.
Okay.
But then for me, I never measure my dilution process in terms of when I'm making it at the time, but I do consider the amount of, or the type of ice I'm using, or the temperature of my surroundings when I'm stirring. Obviously, when you're shaking cocktails, you have less control on the dilution process because you're shaking, right? And that's because when it gets to a certain temperature, when you're shaking, dilution generally stops, right?
Yeah.
Because of the temperature, like the ice is not going to melt anymore. But when you stir something, you really want to have that dilution process so that it doesn't over dilute your drink, but it opens up all the really intense flavor of the spirit that you're trying to bring out. And that's when you kind of like have to be a little bit wary about that. I don't have any measurement, but I wouldn't I'd probably say, just thinking here, over 20 mils of dilution is probably not going to be good for a single serve drink, such as Manhattan or a mojito. Sorry, a
Okay.
Manhattan or a martini. That
Okay,
makes sense.
gotcha. All right. Okay, so we have 8 minutes. We'll be cut soon. Maybe my last question is, do you mind telling us what's your... Okay, speaking of the daiquiri, what's your ratio? Do you
Okay.
like... Yeah, when you make it, do you have like a standard ratio for yourself?
Yeah.
Like Loy's daiquiri is this ratio. Well,
Yeah, absolutely.
mind telling us?
Yeah, it depends on two to one. So 2 to 1. So basically, whatever you're using, we're using 30 ml shots here in Australia.
Okay.
Or ounces. So let's just say 30 ml is a shot. So 60 ml of bacardi, Casablanca, 30 ml of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I don't know about calamansi. Might be a little bit different.
Yeah, a little bit tart.
30 mils. Yeah, 30 mils, and then exactly 2 teaspoons of castor sugar or fine sugar.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I prefer that to sugar syrup, mainly because there's different sweetness in sugar. If you have a
Okay.
sugars, you got I find that castor sugar, or we call it a fine sugar, dilutes easier with the citrus, but it gives you that sherbety kind of like really nice crispy sweetness.
Yeah, yes.
And then you shake it really, really hard. You shake it as hard as you can. I tend to like double straining,
Yeah,
just so that it's nice and crisp and clean.
Clean, yes.
But some people actually like the bits of eye shards coming through. Historically speaking, I don't think it was actually double strained, but
Yes.
I like it, and I never garnish. So just perfect daiquiri is just in a glass, serve up, given to you as and as fresh as possible.
All right, perfect. Nice. Okay, guys, so you know how Loy does his daiquiri.
Hello again.
All right, welcome back. Okay, so again, everyone, thank you for tuning in to Toma Sessions Live. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. And we have here our guest, Loy Catada, Bacardi Brands Brand Ambassador of Australia. Okay, so next question would be, as a mentor, okay, so what do you have like a standard? Well, okay, I don't know if you can tell this or not, but generally, how is Loy Catada as a mentor to especially those guys that you mentored in Bacardi Legacy?
Yeah. Okay. Look. Being a mentor means you have to inspire people, I guess, in terms of just guiding them to what they do best. And what I can tell you is that from the 7 Australian competitors that I had going to the Legacy global finals, they're all very, very different. They have their own strength, they have their own weaknesses. You need to be able to identify that by I guess it's all about lots of communication, lots of practice with them, and then finding out what they're comfortable with. Because in the end of the day, it's not about me. I'm just there as their assistant. Kind of like I always tell them I'm your wingman. You know, I'm the wingman. I'm not really the teacher or anything like that. I'm just a wingman to guide them to what I've seen. So having like yourself, you've been to the Legacy. So I'm sure people ask you about if they're interested to compete. You know, what are the main what are the main things that the judges are looking for? Should I do this? Should I do that? And all those kind of things. But in the end of the day, you basically find what they're best at. You know, the best qualities, and you focus on those, because what they love will, if they love what they're doing, they'll do really, really well. And of course, the drink's always important. The drink, that's the reason why we have Legacy. Legacy is very different, because it's not just about the bartender, it's about the drink at the same time. And you got to remember, you created that drink.
Yeah.
So you can change it around. And that's a lot of people don't understand that you know, the daiquiri has had different recipes, right? At the end of the day, the DNA is still there. There's a lot of cocktails that's changed along the evolution. Along the way. So, and that's the thing. That's what your legacy is. Your legacy is about you creating a drink, and Jin Chan would have probably talked to you about it. It's probably changed something there along the way, I'm sure, you know. Shingo has changed his drink as well a little bit, the way it's made, the recipe, the tweak and stuff, and so did Lizzie. So the drink's really important, and always.
Lizzie, Lisaveta. Yeah, she's. I invited her soon. Secret first.
Yeah, also. Yeah. So we always. So basically, you've already got your winner. You just have to groom them on what the judges are looking for, and look at the best qualities that they've got, and focus on that, because that's what the judges are. When you're on the stage, what you need to do is get the audience and the judges to actually engage with you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
How are you gonna do that? If you don't like what you're saying, you're being a robot just talking about and listening to your script, then it's gonna be boring.
Yeah.
But if it comes from here, and you know that, you've been there, you were in San Francisco with me, you know, the feeling, and how they interact with you, and the way, I love the way, I always go back to that year when Andrew Bennett is such a great speaker, you know, and the way he interacted with the judges.
Yes.
We had a chat about that. We go, that is amazing. So, you know.
It's the red jacket, mate. It's the red jacket.
Exactly. You know, little things, little tips with competition to that, like know your judges. What is there anywhere you can actually use your presentation to engage with the judges? You know, and stuff like that. Like, what do you know about them that you can connect with what your creation is? But then always go back to the drink, because if you have a very bad drink, then, you know, your presentation is a big part of it, but the drink is the one that's going to
the major. Yeah. Okay.
Test of time.
Saying that, let's do a playtime. I mean, without naming anything or whoever, whatever. What if this contestant, okay, although he's your representative or she's your representative, whoever it is, really made a not so good drink to make it to the finals or even the ocho? Do you step in already, or like give your thought, or you let him? What did you say? What do you? I mean, you know, how do you mentor that? How do you let him change his drink or her drink or whoever?
Sorry, my battery's running low.
No worries.
When you get to the finals, and when you get to the global finals, you can assume that your drink is a standout.
Okay.
So it wouldn't get into the global final, even the national finals, if your drink is basically crap, you know.
Okay.
So I don't think I'll get to that point where I say, hey, that drink's really bad. That's number one, because the judges and, you know, like all the people that actually picked it, you know, they would have made it there that far if the drink was terrible. Okay.
But all right.
Secondly, I don't, even if I think it's not that good, who am I to say? Because taste is subjective, right?
Yep.
I may not like drinks with tomato juice. I may not like drinks with cream or yogurt.
Yep.
I may not like drink with sesame oil.
Yep.
But if the judges picked it, and these judges are the cocktail king himself, Dave DeGroff and Ian Burrell and all those then there must be something about that drink, right?
Yeah.
And funny enough is because you always have to make sure you have an open mind, because there's always one there that you'd go, oh, I don't agree with that judging, like there'll always be one like that.
Yes.
You go, and I've learned enough to say, oh, I want to learn from that. I want to learn why that did really well.
Yeah.
There's always aspect of it. One thing you want to do, if you don't, and this is what I do, if I don't kind of like agree with the particular drink sometimes, just because, I think that drink's better, especially when you get to the top 8, right? You go, I thought that drink was better, and because everyone's.
Of course, it's competition. Yeah, exactly, and yeah, okay.
Make the drink. Just make the drink, and then you go.
Try for yourself.
You'll be surprised. You'll be going, holy moly, that drink's actually banging.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
No, I mean because you're correct. I mean, if you're already at the point that you reach the final, well, how do you call it, the nationals, or maybe even the semifinals in the global. So of course it's already tried and tested. But on the other hand, you're correct also. I mean, I agree with you because like tasting a cocktail is pretty subjective, and unless you are on that table. And then the folder, the score sheet,
Yeah, and it's never just about the drink, it's about presentation, the way it's promoted. And that's the reason why it's a legacy. It's one of the hardest competition because it's so hard to judge. And it's not just about the bartender. It's about the drink as well, and that drink is meant to be remembered later on.
Exactly.
So it's a drink that's just you don't just win a competition, get the trophy and a check, and you go see you later. Nothing happens to the drink. That drink's actually going to be recorded in history as a drink that can be like your drink.
Yes. Now it's evolved. It's evolved a lot. I mean, even the techniques involved in it, the techniques, the method. Although soon I'm gonna. The El Tendero. Yes. I mean,
you see,
it's
that's what legacy is. You remember the drink. There's a lot of competition. Like even mine. I've been to so many competitions, and sometimes I go, "What the hell did I make that time?" When I won this competition, what did I do? I can't remember the recipe. But even people, like the legacy cocktails, I always remember their drinks. I'll make them as well, So you change your recipe, have you?
Well, the procedure a little bit, and because you have to see, I mean, like shaken versus stirred versus rolled, throw, it's pretty interesting. And then, of course, during that time, I would say I was the guinea pig because I was the first one. But I did pretty well. I mean, I'm pretty proud of what I did.
You should be. It was amazing.
I mean, brought the house down with interaction and engagement. But the cocktail side, I mean, it helped. It helped me a lot to improve and evolve. In terms of, in fact.
What about
Go ahead.
What about the amount of friends you've made?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, how would you say it? It comes with yes, of course. Until now, we're pretty much. I mean, like, because after Legacy, I went to New York back to back. Well, simply because
I saw it.
Yeah, I got plane tickets for like a very, very cheap price, but it was freaking cold there in New York at that time, maybe November, December. But then again, New York is New York. I met a lot of friends. In fact, a while ago, this morning I was chatting with Senor Juan Coronado.
Yes.
Pero wow, I mean, I've been in touch with them every once in a while, and
amazing.
And Lady Daiquiri also, Natalia Garcia, and even Mo. I'm proud of. Actually, my batchmates are pretty dope in what they've done.
Yes, following them around. Yeah, it's amazing.
Over the years. So, I gotta hand it to that competition. I mean, it also built my thirst for competing more. But then again, at some point, Yeah, well, I get this thing that since I won already, I shouldn't join and whatnot. But then again, it's a matter of timing, really. Because during my time, in the same way that in the 90s, you competed a lot here, during the 90s, we didn't really have an open competition. It's just one group. So I produced competitions in 2001. I was the well, I did mine in reverse. I produced, then I joined late in the game, like 2015. So it was like, oh, okay, so this is how it felt like. I mean, but yeah, even mentoring, yes. In fact, that's why I was just to also answer what I asked you. Of course, a bartender's full circle should be a bar, right? It's a real bar, because I'm a bartender. But then again, over the years, I've been exposed to both mentoring and bartending. So I wanted, well, part of this Toma sessions, like I said, is to inform and to inspire, and also to build or to produce more bartenders. I mean, okay, we'll talk with sustainability. I think that's my next question.
Yeah.
But before that, Vimy, on a personal note, my sustainability advocacy is the sustainability of people or bartenders. Because, at the end of the day, humans humans are considered a resource, but unfortunately, the better resources leave the country due to brain drain. I mean, well, for what it's worth, it's a choice. For what it's worth, it's a choice. You can't really tell people, hey, stay put here. You belong to the Philippines. You're an intelligent guy. You're a great guy. So, but you're looking at that equation. If a great bartender leaves a bar, the one that suffers is the bar.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
the same everywhere, I suppose. It's the same everywhere. But
So
that's the thing. Bartending is such a transient, profession.
yeah,
When I was bartending, I used to move around as well, and I think your credibility and your skills move with it as well, and your maturity. I agree with you, but at the same time, when I was in Tasmania and I was bartending there, I was one thing I when I moved to Sydney, I told and 6 months later I said to myself, why didn't I move earlier? Because I learned so much, So I guess I'm thinking about bartenders and their career and their career progression, and that if it takes you anywhere, that's fine. But then I know where you're at, because you're a business owner. You want to make sure that you have a resource of talented bartenders remaining. So there has to be some sort of initiative, or I don't know, what you got to ask a question: why are people moving overseas? Is it because we're so I can vouch for you that Filipino bartenders are one of the best in the world, and that's probably one of the reasons, and also their attitude, hard work, and everything. But is there a reason why they want to leave the the industry there? Maybe I'm just asking the question. I'm not, I don't have an answer for that. So
100%. In fact, that's why. Well, maybe this is part of aging or part of maturity. You begin to accept that reality that bartenders are transient, and as much as you want them to stay and help grow the country, that's just it. That's just the reality of things. People move, people go to where they want to or they love to. So I said, why not? Okay, given that normal thing to do. So the challenge is to at least have somebody that will take over, not necessarily replace them, be as competent, if not maybe competent enough to to be in that bar when as if nothing's happened. People will look for, where's Loy? Oh, it's okay. Loy is there making his dream, but I'm here now. And I'm gonna give you a good time. So that's where I realized. I think, okay, I'll go that direction of instead of bar in school, school and bar. So it's like, yeah, we need to sustain the bartenders, especially.
Yeah. So the next generation, you want to create that next generation of talents.
Exactly. I mean, there's pretty much we're a big bunch here anyway. So, yeah, that's how I saw it. But okay, now we have COVID. So let's go to the present. So, how is Australia when it comes to the COVID pandemic?
Well, yeah. In terms of the economy or the hospitality sector.
Yeah, we can touch on both. Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of well, it's the same as any other country, really. We got our first case in around end of January, and then next thing you know, around April, realized that it needs to be under controlled. A lot of bars shut. There's like over 150,000 hospitality workers lost their job straight away, of course, or got stand down temporarily because of the venues closing. Can't go out.
Yeah.
It's but I think we've done a lot better than a lot of countries. So what's happened is that the government has actually put in a bit of a package to help the hospitality industry, amongst others, and they've had these two programs in general. One is what we call job keepers, and the second one is job seekers. So the job seeker payment is basically if you lose your job, so you basically get some money until COVID-19, until the pandemic's under control. Now the bar owners were given a bit of funding to keep their staff. So what happened is they can put their staff. Obviously, their staff can't work, but the government pays or gives some funding to the bar owners to pay the staff member until they're ready to reopen the business again. So it's been really, really tough. The economy is obviously suffering, but at the same time, though, we had enough support from the government to be able to keep going. But not only the best thing that's happened to us is that we had the highest amount of testing in the world.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And at this point in time, we had a total of 99 deaths, and from the whole country.
Over 2 months.
Over 2 months. Yeah. 99 deaths.
Nice. Wow.
So
Wow.
We've been pretty lucky. And also because of the controls that we've done, the lockdown. It was the lockdown that we had was quite. It wasn't severe as such but it was well timed. So
Okay. Can you give me an example? What are the three moves by the government when you say you've been on a lockdown? I mean, how strict is that? I mean, can you?
So basically, okay. For example, we were told not to go out. So you can't buy all cafes, restaurant, bars shut. Only essential at the worst moment, at the worst time. Only the essential services were open. So pharmacy. The supermarkets for essential goods, and the bottle shops. So you can
Yes.
So because you can't buy alcohol in supermarkets here in Australia, so you have to have a. But that was lucky for us as a company because alcohol in Australia was an essential service.
Yeah. Nice.
So we were encouraged to only go to shops, when you really need something. So there was like, it was a point where toilet paper was so scarce because people were panic buying. I suppose, and things like that. So that was it until we saw the curve of the pandemic go down. It kept on every week was coming down. Oh, by the way, the beaches were closed. So,
Okay.
loves the beaches.
Surf's
So
up.
no one was,
Yep.
Yeah, no one's allowed to go to the. You can exercise. You can go for a run, but you can't. You can't go out with. At one point, you can't go with more than 4 people.
Okay.
Out, and you can't travel. No, obviously traveling locally was gone. You can't. All the planes are grounded. You can't even go interstate crossover.
Okay.
And you can get fined if you drive for no reason. Like if you just go for a Sunday drive, you can get. So that kind of like was that's how much kind of like that was essentially our lockdown.
Okay.
Until Friday. So on Friday last week, so with no cases. And
Oh, he says, by the way, James Bunton is with us. He's a friend of
James.
yours. Likely, yeah. He
Yeah,
said
he's a
it's
friend of mine.
100. He said 100 now.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate. Yeah, 100. It was 99
Okay.
last. Yeah, it
But
was
it's still,
99
it's still pretty good. I mean, here we're talking of 4 digits already in the Philippines. So, but okay, a follow up there with the lockdown. So, but how was that perceived by the people in general?
Yeah, good.
Or,
So, keep going. Yep.
I mean, did they follow right away? Were they hard-headed in the beginning? How did that turn out?
I think it's more like there's a lot of confusion about what you can't do. That really kind of like affected it. And there's also obviously some people who doesn't really realize the seriousness of this particular the pandemic, because it wasn't really like it wasn't as bad as the US or what's happening in Italy, but you can see it like if you in my personal part, I have a son. He was young, so I immediately I thought, oh yeah, we got to protect the family, Of
course.
But if you're a young person, you want to, being stuck for like 2 months.
Oh.
Not good. Like
It's crazy,
You want to
yeah.
go out, and and that's one of the reasons why they shut the. So we had a weekend. I think we had a long weekend as well. They shut the beaches because the beautiful day comes out and everybody comes out. It's not. I don't think it's anybody's fault. It's just the natural flow of people going. Sun's out. Let's go out. I'm sure everybody else is going in. So, but then next thing you know, there's like thousands of people in there. There's a case in Bondi, for example. Obviously Bondi Beach is a very popular beach. There was like 1,000 people there on the weekend, and everybody just went and got scared because what's going on there. That was earlier on because everybody was a little bit confused, and there was like a lot of young people who wants to go out, and they thought, they can. But then as it progressed, there's always going to be cases of people flouting social distancing and all those kind of things. But I believe it's minimal. I think it's kind of like worked, but it's too early to say because obviously there might be a second wave coming, which has happened to some countries before, and so we're aware of it. The good thing is, hi Igor.
Hey, my man, what's up, Igor? Pasaporte, what's up, man?
Nice
to see you.
So we're just so we're just learning from other countries too, their mistakes, what they're doing well, those kind of things. It's like that, and we're lucky. We're actually quite lucky, yeah.
Okay. All right. No, okay. So, how about the to-go cocktails? How is it doing in there?
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, so that is actually a very interesting subject because bars and venues naturally, or before the pandemic, you can't actually do to go takeaway.
Okay.
And kudos to the government. They've decided, hey, this guy's got to make some money.
Okay.
So they allowed that the idea of cocktails to go and cocktail deliveries. Some people are doing it really, really well. Some people are getting by, fortunately, because of that. We're trying our best to help out and create some solutions for other businesses as well.
Okay.
So as a company, we're doing a lot. We're doing everything we can to help out businesses at the current situation. But I think that it's easing down now. So what we need to do is we believe that soon enough businesses are gonna reopen again. So we got to make sure we're ready to support them as much as we can in a timely manner.
Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. Here also in the Philippines, well, like I said, I mean, there's still a lot of growing when it comes to awareness of cocktails and cocktails to go. But yeah, there are a few cities pretty much involved in that, and also the liquor delivery, the bottle delivery is also a good business right now. We have to see also what's going to happen in the next few weeks. Okay, so let's now talk future. So, what's your opinion? You may or may not have, a comment about this, but how do you see what's the new norm for the bar industry in the next few weeks, few months?
What's happening? What's going to happen? It's really hard to say, but I think what we are predicting is that people would want to go out. So there could be a surge of people going out for a little while. So whoever gets the opening right. There's also a situation where some venues might not be able to sustain having to open when there's only you can only have 10 people at the time.
Exactly.
With this extra service they're gonna have, because at the moment you gotta do table service. You can't really go. There's a lot of controls to be able to make this work. And also the economy. We don't know who's a lot of people don't have a job or are still waiting to get back to work, and they don't have any money to spend. So those kind of factors are the ones that we're actually trying to consider. But essentially, I think that the hospitality industry in general is resilient. Human beings are sociable people, so they will go out, regardless. And if you think back, in history as well, I mean, this is a very big, unprecedented thing that's happened in our history. But other things have happened in the past as well. Think about the Great Depression, for example, World Wars and stuff like that. And you'll probably find that some people rose up to that occasion and consolidated. And apparently, this is what I was looking at, that there's more millionaires made during after the Great Depression, than before. So there's going to be some people who's going to be agile enough and to be able to go and adapt really well with change. And whichever business or venue adapts will probably do really, really well. And unfortunately, there might be some venues that we'll never see open again, and I'm hoping that that's not the case, or it's minimal, but that's the chatter that I've been hearing in the industry at the moment, because it's not sustainable to keep closed for a long period of time. You got rent to pay,
exactly.
You got charges, you got your mortgage, you got loans, and it's not good. And obviously we have to stick together and help each other out as much as we can. And for me, it's about going out there to see customers or seeing the venues and spending your money if you have the money to spend, so the economy keeps going.
Yep, exactly. Okay. All right then. Wait, well, I don't think there's questions anymore, but they can, actually, guys, for those who will miss this, there is actually, well, you can check this out in IGTV, or we will upload it in our YouTube channel, which is Toma Sessions. So yeah, please hit subscribe and share that channel so we can grow this program. So okay, let's do the fast talk now. So I just have like maybe 7 questions. So you have just to choose A or B. Okay.
Okay. So I've
right.
done this before, so okay.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so let's talk of color. All right. So black or white? It's general color.
Black.
Okay. Next, shorts or trousers?
Trousers.
Okay.
Shorts I like sometimes.
Okay. All right. Fish or chicken?
Fish.
Okay. Indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask that, because sometimes even if you're a bartender, you're just a homebody, right? So we do have some brothers that would prefer to just stay in and read a book.
I hear you.
All right.
Are days like that?
Red or white wine?
Red wine.
Okay. Any specific grape variety?
A heavy one like a Shiraz, or.
That's too Aussie, man. It's too Aussie. I'm just kidding.
I like a spicy. Yeah, I like a spicy.
Okay.
A nice spicy, heavy Cabernet Sauvignon.
All right. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I love Shiraz for a burger, pizza, man. It's
always with food. I like it with food. I don't like it much by itself sometimes. Although I do that with the Pinot Noir, but yeah.
Okay. Next, shaken or stirred?
Oh, that's a hard one. Okay, it's a fast talk, shaken.
Okay.
Just because I like the action, the Japanese shake.
So last one, rocks or neat?
Neat.
Okay, perfect. So that's it. See, you're done. You did pretty well.
Awesome.
Okay, so so maybe you can give us a final word of inspiration to our audience, aspiring bartenders, the Filipino bartenders, and everybody else who's in the channel.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in, and it's been an honor, Richie. Just being in your show. Look, my final thoughts is just keep positive, right? I think that what I do once a week is I go for a run, and I call it my thank you run, and think about the good things that's happened in my life, and that gives you positivity. I think that's what we really need now. There's a lot of especially in Facebook and Instagram, there's a lot of people there that really inspire me because of the things that they're doing at the moment to make our life better, or mental health, obviously in this particular unprecedented situation. But like I said, think of the great things and the great people you know, and stay safe.
Okay. So yeah, there you have it.
Thanks, James.
Okay, you have what do you call it? So last question. Yeah, how does Loy stay so young? Well, it's all in the genes, James. I mean, I think it comes from the genes. So exactly my.
A bit like you, James. It's all the whiskey and rum we've been drinking, mate. It gives us, it keeps our skin.
There you go.
Preserved.
Yeah, no pores whatsoever. Okay, so let's take one selfie. I'm just gonna do a screenshot. Okay, hold that. Ready? 1, 2. Okay, one more time. 1, 2.
Excellent.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, Loy, thank you. It was an honor. It was very great chatting with you, and you gave us, insights about what's happening with you, what's happening with Australia, and what's happening with the bartenders. We hope, you had a fun time for an hour or so. And yeah, regards to our friends Andrew, Igor, actually Francisco, Munhi, and the rest of the gang, man. So
Amazing.
okay.
Love
So
it.
with that, yeah, thank you, and
Thanks,
yeah.
Richie.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, enjoy your dinner. Bye bye.